Well, hello there, gang. Welcome to the 30. This is your host. It's another week, another fantastic show. I want to thank you for joining me on today. Today's topic, episode 112, where we'll focus on topic is Let's Talk Engineering. Fantastic. If this is your first time watching the 30, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you're a regular of on our show, thank you for being here once again. We are streaming live to three specific destinations: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. You can check all of our previous shows out. You can go to our YouTube channel under the Jackman Group LLC. And of course, the 30 is brought to you by the Jackman Group LLC. So tonight is a very special night. I've invited a good friend of mine, and we're going to be talking about engineering, but we're also going to be talking about some of the keys, one or two keys that has been instrumental in his success. So I'm going to bring him up shortly, but in the meantime, hang tight, and we'll be right back in a couple of seconds. Of course, it's the 30. Thank you for being here. I am your host. Tonight, we are going to be talking about engineering. We'll also focus on one or two keys that have helped my guests to be successful. And my guest is no other than Wayne Williams Jr., and I'm going to bring him in now. If you have any questions for Wayne, make sure that you drop them in the comments box, and I'm sure he'll be willing to answer them. And also make sure that you like and share our broadcasts. Do that for us. If you're viewing from our YouTube channel, hey, hit the subscribe button and become a member, a subscriber of the Jackman Group LLC YouTube channel. So let's bring Wayne in. Wayne, how are you, my friend? Welcome to the 30.
Patrick, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm ecstatic to be here with you this evening.
All right. Well, tell our viewers, because people are saying, well, who's Wayne, right? Who's this character Wayne? Wayne Williams Jr. So who's Wayne and what does Wayne do?
Yes, my name is Wayne S. Williams Jr., and I'm a father. I am a husband, and I also am an engineer, a civil engineer by training. Um, and I currently am employed by the Avangrid Group. I'm a senior project manager there, responsible for projects in the medium or mid voltage range. And I'm happy to be here.
All right. Well, certainly. Thank you. So let's start. The topic is let's talk engineering, right? So
Yes.
I've known you for some time now, and I've known some engineers, but I don't know the depth and the breadth of engineering. You hear engineering, there
Yeah.
are many types of engineers or engineering. Tell
Mhm.
our viewers and listeners a listing that falls under the category of engineers or engineering.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, if you're thinking about engineering, what you're thinking about is an individual who uses math and science to solve problems. Um, and there are a range of engineering careers or engineering disciplines that exist. Um, as I mentioned, I'm a civil engineer, and civil engineering in itself has several sub engineering types. Transportation engineering, if you think about going to and from one place via roads, air, train, boat. Um, So that would be the transportation engineering area. There's environmental engineering, those who deal with the environment. So that would be air, water, and land. Um, there's also individuals who get into structural engineering, which would deal with the places that we live, work, and play. I always say it's kind of exciting that it was an engineer who likely designed your favorite roller coaster, um, as well as an engineer, likely a structural engineer, who would have designed the bridges that you travel over going from destinations A to B. Similarly, the home or school or church that you might attend would have all been designed by a structural engineer. Um, and so those are just a handful of the different types of civil engineers. But then there's also in the medical field, you'd have biomedical engineers. And the idea of an engineer is far more than just an individual that conducts a train.
Hmm. Is there the electrical engineer as well, and
Absolutely, absolutely.
mechanical?
So when you think of electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer engineers, um, um, again, you're talking about a specific area, and you're applying math and science in order to be able to solve problems in that specific area.
So, why did you take the route of becoming an engineer? Were you always good with math and science?
Hmm. It's a very interesting path that I took. I originally actually thought I was going to become an architect. Um, I can recall, and there's stories in my family about the houses that I used to draw and the models that I used to put together. Um, very detail oriented, and enjoyed building whatever I could as a child. Um, and so, and as I got along in school, I definitely gravitated towards the sciences and the mathematics. Excuse me. However, engineering actually became the path of choice, specifically because I decided that a 4-year degree, as opposed to the traditional 5-year degree that an architect would have to pursue in order to be prepared to enter that field of work, was a little bit more attractive. And so that's how I found myself in engineering. Um, yeah,
So, what are some of the subjects if someone wants to get in, a young person um, hearing or watching this program and says, you know something, I like building things, I like putting together things. What are some of the subjects that one would have to dive into or have a
absolutely.
passion for in order to become an
Yes.
engineer?
So there's a acronym that's in the school systems: STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay.
Um, and there's actually one additional acronym or letter that gets added, which is the A for the arts. And so, whether it's STEM or STEAM, those subjects, your mathematics,
Hmm.
everything from your trigonometry and your algebra, um, to your higher learnings of calculus, um, differential equations, are all tools that give you a language to be able to use mathematics to solve problems. Similarly, there are the physical sciences, so that would be your chemistry, your physics, and biology. Uh, all of those subjects increase the tools that you have in your bag of skills to be able to approach different problems. And I'll use a quick example. We're in the upper Northeast, And a question that I always talk to children that I mentor about is there any particular reason that you think we have sloped roofs as opposed to flat roofs on a lot of our buildings here in the upper Northeast? And naturally, if I kind of coach them along a little bit, they'll get to the fact that we have winters, and because of those winters, we have considerable snow. So you can actually relate the pitch or the angle of a roof to the type of triangle that roof can be described as, um, whether it be a right triangle, isosceles, an obtuse triangle, and all of those mathematic terms help to give a description of the type of roof that snow won't set on, but actually it would slide off of. And so that's just one quick example of how you can utilize math to help solve problems in this physical environment.
Wow. Yeah, in school, I was not that type of person. When I heard people talking about trig and calculus, I was like,
Yes,
let me go in the other direction.
got it.
That's too nerdy for me. But that's it. But it's fascinating in terms of the different types of engineering and the subjects that's required. Were you, as a kid, were you always into fixing things and trying to find out why things work, like the rules that you just said? Were you
Yeah.
always inquisitive in that way?
I definitely think I have a bent towards the sciences. Um, I think of my mother, um, who actually was a computer programmer back when they used to use cards. Uh, those who are involved in computer science may have heard about some early programming languages, Cobalt or Fortran. These were some of the foundational types of computer language that we now use um, advanced forms of to power various industries and businesses, and that's what my mother did uh, for her first career, and so I think I got it honest.
Got it. So basic is no longer a language. Is that
No,
no?
no,
Okay. I think I'm dating myself there, Wayne. So Wayne,
yeah.
when we look at keys to your success,
Mm.
what I want to talk about is first, what give me or give our viewers one or two keys that you thought that helped you along the way and bring you to where you are now.
I've been thinking about this since you extended the offer, and if I had to, focus on one or two keys, I would absolutely say that I am the product of a pipeline,
Hmm,
and the pipeline that I was afforded the opportunity to participate in was established at Lincoln University of Pennsylvania. It is the nation's first historically Black college or university. And at that university, they had a program called the Lincoln Advanced Science and Engineering Reinforcement Program. Now, Lincoln is a liberal arts college. We do not have an engineering program per se. However, we do have a very strong and rich history in the sciences, specifically the physical sciences, mathematics, physics, biology, chemistry, and computer science. And it was in this laser program that I was taken through the rigors of proper study skills and exposure um, from caring professors. Um, the type of coursework that prepared me to really develop that foundation, which I then was able to go on from Lincoln University to attend the nation's oldest engineering school, which is Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. and there complete my Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering. Um, and then from there, after several years of practicing in the industry and in the field down in the Washington, D.C. area, I went on to graduate studies at George Mason University. Um, and while studying there and further defining the skills that I've been exposed to from the earlier portion of my career, and then enhancing it with more detailed study, um, began to acquire more skills, which further propelled me in my current career. So pipeline
Okay.
um, is critical.
So pipeline, you also mentioned discipline in your studies. So I would think that's pretty important too. So Wayne,
Absolutely.
we're going to take a 30-second break. And then when we come back, I want to ask you, because you did mention along the lines of historical Black colleges and universities. So I want to talk about what are some of the numbers that you're seeing of Black and Brown or minorities as a whole entering into the field of engineering, and then talk about some of the payoffs in terms of what is a potential payout or salaries that engineers can make. So think about those things. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. You're watching the 30. This is your host, Patrick, and I am talking to Wayne S. Williams Jr. Wayne is a civil engineer, and we are talking about Let's Talk Engineering. So, Wayne, when we just took the break, we were talking about your journey, and we were talking about schooling and the colleges and universities that you went to. My question is, what are the numbers if we look at Black and Brown or minorities as a whole? What are the numbers saying in your research as to how many minorities go into the field of engineering?
So I did peruse some of the the scholarly papers to identify exactly what uh, the percentages or the numbers are. And although I did not find a concrete number, what I did read on countless accounts are there is great opportunity in the STEM and specifically the engineering disciplines as far as careers and job opportunities. However, there has been a decline in the amount of participation. Um, and I don't know specifically what is attributing to this decline the most. However, I can say that there is value in considering um, where you decide to study, and specifically what the graduation rates are for individuals who look like yourself, and what it is that you are interested in studying, and potentially the career that you're interested in. So that's what the research that I've had the opportunity to review has shown.
So you're saying that the numbers are decreasing in terms of minorities going into the engineering field, or specifically Black and Brown folks, right?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, we always want to talk about some finances, right?
Hmm.
In terms of the payoff, because I can't imagine what it costs to become an engineer in terms of schooling. I imagine it's probably pretty expensive. What is the payoff? What could be what could an engineer make? Let's say civil engineer like yourself. What is the minimum coming out of school and someone
Mhm.
that's more tenured?
Absolutely. So I think that, as in any career, what's most valuable is that you increase the amount of exposure and skills that you bring to the table. Um, the short answer would be that the range in salary for a entry level civil engineer, depending upon taking the consultant versus the municipality, that being some type of public service with a federal, state, or local government role versus a consultant, can range anywhere from 50 to 70 $1,000 a year as a anticipated salary. Um, there's a couple of things that impact that: the cost of living of the city or the location where you're working, as well as the size of that community that you're working in. Quite naturally, in a larger, more populated city, um, the salaries could be on closer to or on the higher end, um, as opposed to maybe a mid-range to a smaller city or even a rural environment. Your compensation could be lower.
So give me a range. Someone coming in, you said 50 to 70. What about someone that's more tenured, that's
Mhm.
been an engineer, let's say 5, 10 years? What does that look like? Working in an engineer in a firm or a large company?
So there are some levels of training and level of capability that engineers acquire. Um, for example, I am a construction project manager. So I did not take the pathway of a design engineer, someone who produces contract documents, the actual plans that a contractor would use to build any of your built infrastructure. Um, and because I focus on delivering projects for clients, whether they be private or municipal, um, my compensation range and the compensation range of an individual with, let's say, 5 years of that particular expertise, could probably increase anywhere between 20 and 30% from our starting range to the you know just shy of six figures.
Nice, not too shabby. All
No.
right. So as we wind down here, we got to, what, another 6 minutes or something, Wayne. Let's talk about some of the potential barriers. Someone wants to get into engineering, again, specific to your area of expertise,
Hmm.
civil engineering and project and program management. What are
Hmm.
some of the potential barriers that may come up?
Yeah, I believe that one of the major barriers that an individual can encounter is being very focused and lacking the ability to communicate effectively. Um, One of my greatest talents is being able to relate fairly complex problems and or processes um, to clients, or in some cases contractors, so that they can understand what the end goal and end desirable is. um, so I think one of the biggest challenges that an engineer oftentimes can encounter is we spend so much time solving problems and developing these skill sets and being able to either produce the design or deliver the project, but the people skills are extremely important to be able to relate that complex topic or design or project to in a very plain way, so that all parties involved will understand and know what the end goal is.
Great. So next one, Wayne, I know you do, you work with young folks. Let's talk about that. Let's pivot and go there. What are some of the things that students ask you in relation to your role to engineering? One, and then what are some of the things that you do as you're mentoring
Mhm.
students along the way?
Yeah. So the very first thing that comes to mind is exposure. Um, Oftentimes, when I find myself in front of um, underrepresented minorities, this is one of, if not the first time that they've seen an engineer, a civil engineer that looks like them. And so I think that the very first thing is that, we know all growth comes through exposure. And so just my presence of showing them that it's something that you can achieve, should you be willing to commit both time and energy and follow the process, kind of going back to that idea of a pathway or a pipeline, um, being willing to enter that pipeline and being willing to, pay attention to those math and those science courses. That's a opportunity for you to engage in this career path.
Great. Wayne, if what would you tell a Wayne that is 20, 21 years old at this point? What would you say to a younger Wayne?
The first thing that I'd say to the younger Wayne is get your license. There is a process that you can choose to pursue in engineering where you become licensed. Now, I've been fortunate enough to do the job and utilize the skills that I've honed over my 20 plus year career, such that my work speaks for me. However, the actual license kind of communicates that without me having to prove it. Um, and so, um, I almost equate it to an individual who becomes a lawyer or who desires to be a lawyer and goes to school and earns the degree, but then you still have to pass that test, which is the bar exam. And until you pass the bar exam, there is a certain role that you cannot take in the actual courtroom. And so that would be the one thing that I would tell my younger self, was to just go ahead and get that license.
Great. When, as we end, we normally do something called rapid fire,
Yes.
where I ask you a couple of questions. Actually, I'm going to ask you 4 or 5, and you quickly answer them. First one, favorite movie?
Favorite movie is School Days.
School Days. Wow, you go way back. All right, favorite food, Wayne?
Lasagna.
Okay. Favorite place to vacation?
Anywhere with family.
Okay. Favorite music?
I have to say jazz.
Right. And that line, favorite musical artist?
Hmm. John Coltrane.
Okay, John Coltrane. Great. Erica said pizza for her favorite food. Thanks, Erica. Shout out to you. Favorite, let's see, favorite book that you've read recently?
um, um, why do white guys have to have all the fun?
And
Um,
that was, I forgot his name. I read
Reginald
that book too.
Lewis.
Reginald Lewis, the late
Reginald
Reginald
Lewis.
Lewis.
Yes.
If folks don't know about Reginald Lewis, I encourage you to
Yes.
research Reginald Lewis.
Yes.
He was one of the first African American venture capitalists.
Yeah. Yeah. First black billionaire.
Right, exactly. So I encourage
Yeah.
folks to really go. Don't care whatever color you are.
Yeah.
Get the book by Reginald Lewis. Powerful book. All right, Wayne. Any last comments before we close it down?
Just wanted to thank you, Patrick, as well as the Jackman Group for this opportunity. Um, we definitely need more representation from the minority community in engineering. I would love to leave your viewers and listeners with this, that the best solutions are achieved when you have a diverse pool working on those solutions. And so, one of the things that we have the opportunity to do in participating in this work is bring a different perspective that ultimately will result in better solutions for our built environment and our community. So diversity is key.
All right, Wayne. Thank you so very much. Well said. I would. Uh, I think we have your wife scheduled to come up sometime. The power couple, the Williams power couple. So I look forward to talking with her. You represented her very well. So thank you for that. And of course, we will see you soon. God bless you, and God bless you, your family, Wayne.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right. So we've been talking to Wayne Williams. Wayne is a civil engineer and a project and program management leader. If you have any ideas that you would like us to cover, or if you would like to be a guest on the 30, just drop us an email here, drop us a line, info@jackmangroupllc.com. That again is info@jackmangroupllc.com. Of course, join our community, the Jackman community. Go to jackmangroupllc.com. In the upper left, hit join community, and we would love to have you as part of our community. We will see you next week when we will have another guest. So stay tuned, be well, and we look forward to see you on another show of the 30 next week. Again, may God bless you. We'll see you.